The suplex echoed through the State Farm Arena. The bass dropped, and then that iconic music hit. Atlanta exploded. After weeks of silence, after leaving the wrestling world on edge following his Royal Rumble performance, Brock Lesnar was back. And brother, if you thought he was just showing up to wave at the cameras and leave, you haven't been paying attention to what the Beast Incarnate does when WrestleMania season rolls around. This wasn't a feel-good comeback. This wasn't nostalgia. This was a declaration of war wrapped in an ultimatum that just turned the entire road to WrestleMania upside down. And before we go any further, if you're loving the intensity of this moment as much as we are, do us a solid and hit that subscribe button. We're bringing you the latest, the realest, and the most hard-hitting wrestling coverage on YouTube. And trust me, you're not going to want to miss what's coming next in this story. Paul Heyman walked out first, microphone in hand, that knowing smirk plastered across his face like a man holding all the cards in a poker game nobody else even knew they were playing. Behind him, Brock Lesnar. No fanfare, no theatrics, just pure concentrated menace in human form. The crowd was losing their minds, but you could feel it, that tension, that electricity in the air that only Lesnar brings when he steps through those ropes. This was the first time we'd seen the Beast since the Royal Rumble, where he and Obabe Femi had that face-off that broke the internet. You know the one. Two absolute monsters staring each other down in the middle of that ring in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, looking like they were about to tear the building apart with their bare hands. Lesnar eliminated Femi that night, but he didn't break him. If anything, he created something more dangerous, more volatile. He created anticipation. But this Monday wasn't about looking backward. This was about throwing down the gauntlet for the biggest show of the year. Paul Heyman, ever the master wordsmith, ever the advocate, took the mic and reminded everyone why Brock Lesnar is different. He talked about how WrestleMania used to have two main events. The world title match, sure, but the other one, the Undertaker's streak. And who ended that streak? Who walked into WrestleMania 30 and did what everyone said was impossible? Brock Lesnar. That's who. 21-1, the moment that changed wrestling forever, the moment that proved there is no mountain too high for the Beast Incarnate to climb and conquer. Heyman's point was crystal clear. The Undertaker's retired, the streak is done, but WrestleMania still needs that one match that transcends everything else. And at WrestleMania 40 in Las Vegas, that match belongs to Brock Lesnar. Then came the challenge, the open challenge. And here's where things get absolutely nuclear. Heyman stood there, looked directly into the camera, and told the entire WWE locker room that not a single person back there is man enough to step up and face Brock Lesnar at the grandest stage of them all. Not one. He called them out. Every single superstar with dreams of glory and championship gold. He said Lesnar walked through that locker room and didn't see a soul with the guts to accept an ass-kicking of biblical proportions. Those were his exact words, biblical proportions. This isn't just about a match. This is about legacy.
This is about who has the courage to step into the ring with a man who has conquered everyone and everything put in front of him. And then Heyman dropped the schedule. March 16th in San Antonio, March 23rd in Boston, March 30th in New York City, April 6th in Houston, April 13th in Sacramento. 5 straight episodes of Raw leading up to WrestleMania, and Brock Lesnar will be there for every single one. He's not hiding. He's not playing games. He's standing in the middle of that ring week after week, waiting for someone, anyone, to look him in the eye and say yes. The microphone hit the mat. Lesnar stood there, arms crossed, that cold, emotionless stare burning a hole through the camera lens. The message was sent. The ultimatum was delivered. Now the question hanging over the entire wrestling world is simple. Who's going to answer? Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Oba Femi, the ruler, the man who just a few weeks ago stood toe-to-toe with Brock Lesnar in the Royal Rumble and didn't blink. After that Rumble performance, Femi sat down for an interview and talked about that moment. He said it was a teaser. He called it a big money fight. He said they're not going to blow their load on just a Rumble interaction. Translation? This is happening. Maybe not immediately, but it's happening. Femi lasted nearly 40 minutes in that Rumble match. He eliminated 5 men. He entered at number 1 and looked like an absolute star doing it. When he and Lesnar locked eyes, you could have heard a pin drop in that arena. 2 behemoths, 2 forces of nature, both knowing that down the line, they're going to collide in a way that's going to shake the foundation of WWE. The buzz around a potential Lesnar versus Femi match at WrestleMania has been insane. Reports are swirling that WWE has been discussing it internally. Fans are demanding it. The chemistry was there at the Rumble, and both men know it. Femi himself said he was surprised by how much the Saudi crowd got behind him, how the internet buzz actually translated to real crowd reaction. That's rare. That's special. And that's exactly what WWE needs at a time when WrestleMania ticket sales aren't where they want them to be. People want fresh matchups. They want new stars being made. Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 42? That's the kind of match that sells itself. That's the kind of match that creates a superstar overnight. But here's where it gets complicated. LA Knight, the megastar. Another name being thrown around as a potential opponent for Lesnar at Mania. Knight eliminated Lesnar from the Royal Rumble, and if you know anything about Brock Lesnar's history, you know he doesn't forget, he doesn't forgive. Knight's been running hot for months now, and there's legitimate talk that WWE could pivot in his direction. The story's already there. Knight disrespected the Beast at the Rumble, now the Beast wants payback. Simple, effective. But here's the thing. Fans aren't buying it the same way they're buying into Femi. Don't get me wrong, LA Knight is over, but putting him across from Lesnar at WrestleMania feels like a step sideways, not forward. It doesn't have that same electricity. It doesn't have that same unpredictability. Lesnar versus Knight is solid. Lesnar versus Femi is legendary. And then there's Gunther, the ring general, the man who just forced AJ Styles into retirement at the Royal Rumble.
Gunther's been on an absolute tear, and he's made it clear he thinks he's the one who could retire Brock Lesnar if given the chance. That's a bold statement. That's a dangerous statement. Gunther is one of the most legitimate-feeling wrestlers in WWE right now, and the idea of him stepping up to Lesnar's challenge is mouth-watering. But here's the reality. Lesnar and Gunther didn't interact at the Rumble. The moment didn't happen. And in wrestling, timing is everything. That doesn't mean the match can't happen eventually, but for WrestleMania 42, it feels like the ship might have sailed. Still, you can't count anything out. This is WWE. This is WrestleMania season. Anything can happen. What's fascinating about this entire situation is that Brock Lesnar is doing something he rarely does. He's putting himself out there week after week. This isn't the Lesnar we've seen in recent years, popping in for big matches and disappearing for months. This is 5 consecutive weeks of Raw appearances. 5 chances for someone to step up. 5 opportunities for WWE to build the kind of storyline that makes WrestleMania unforgettable. The Open Challenge format is genius because it keeps everyone guessing. It keeps the anticipation at a fever pitch. Every week we're going to be watching Raw wondering if this is the week someone finally has the guts to answer Lesnar's call. The reality is WWE is in a fascinating position right now. They need WrestleMania 42 to be massive. They need it to deliver. And Brock Lesnar is one of the few legitimate megastars they have who can carry a match on name value alone. But it's not just about Lesnar. It's about who they put across from him. This is a star-making opportunity. Whoever steps up to that challenge, whoever accepts that open invitation, they're going to walk into WrestleMania with the eyes of the entire wrestling world on them. Win or lose, they're going to be made. That's the Brock Lesnar effect. That's what happens when you step into the ring with the Beast Incarnate on the biggest stage in professional wrestling. The clock is ticking. 5 weeks until WrestleMania. 5 episodes of Raw. 1 open challenge, and a locker room full of superstars who now have to ask themselves the most important question of their careers. Am I ready to face Brock Lesnar? Am I ready to potentially have my career defined by one match? Am I ready to walk down that aisle in Las Vegas, step through those ropes, and find out if I have what it takes to survive? Because make no mistake, this isn't just about winning. This is about survival. This is about proving you belong on that level. And Brock Lesnar doesn't do participation trophies. He doesn't do moral victories. You either show up or you get destroyed. The wrestling world is on fire right now. Social media is exploding with predictions, debates, dream matches. Even former WWE stars are throwing their names into the mix. Big Vito, of all people, responded to the challenge on social media, representing his promotion and saying he's ready to go. Obviously, that's not happening, but it shows you how much attention this challenge has garnered. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone has an opinion. And that's exactly what WWE wants. They want the buzz. They want the speculation.
They want people tuning in week after week to see what happens next.
Here's what we know for sure. Brock Lesnar is locked in for WrestleMania 42. He's going to be on Raw for the next 5 weeks, and somebody is going to step up. The question isn't if, the question is who. Is it Obafemi, the rising powerhouse who already proved he can hang with the beast? Is it LA Knight looking for redemption and the biggest moment of his career? Is it Gunther, the ring general who believes he's unstoppable? Or is it someone we're not even thinking about yet? Someone who's going to shock the world by walking out on Raw and accepting the challenge nobody saw coming? One thing's certain. When that person finally steps up, when they finally look Brock Lesnar in the eye and say yes, the entire trajectory of WrestleMania 42 is going to shift. The build is going to be insane. The hype is going to be off the charts. And the match itself? It's going to be one for the ages. Because Brock Lesnar doesn't do anything halfway. He doesn't show up for WrestleMania to have a good match. He shows up to create moments. He shows up to make history. And whoever accepts this challenge is going to be part of that history, whether they're ready for it or not. So stay locked in, WrestleCore family. Keep your eyes on Raw. Keep your notifications on, because the next 5 weeks are going to be absolutely insane. The Beast is back. The challenge is open. And WrestleMania 42 is about to become the most unpredictable, most talked about event of the year. And if you're not already subscribed to this channel, what are you even doing? Hit that button, turn on those notifications, and let's ride this road to WrestleMania together. Because trust me, you don't want to miss a single second of what's about to go down. This is history in the making. This is Brock Lesnar throwing down the ultimate ultimatum. And somebody, somewhere, is going to have to decide if they're brave enough, tough enough, crazy enough to answer.